There was a time when shrimp was only caught fresh from the ocean. Coastal communities ate the delicious crustaceans for their valuable nutrients. Packed inside the shell of these tiny creatures is an abundance of protein and essential vitamins. But the shrimp we eat today doesn't come from the sea. Like the Chevy truck and the Nike shoe, most of our shrimp is produced in an intensive industrial process. And Thailand is the leading exporter of shrimp in the world. Grown in simulated environments, hundreds of thousands of shrimp are crammed into man-made ponds like this.
Fungicides, the pesticides, everything that they need to grow the shrimp with, so that they can create as a large a volume as possible in such a small space. I mean, it's not healthy. It's gross.
It's this process that's turned Chef Robert Clark off farmed shrimp. But it's also the reason we can eat shrimp cheaper than ever before. No longer an exotic delicacy, it's a staple of the Western diet. That change has come with a trade-off.
Between 1990 and 2002, several viruses came into Thailand and infected the shrimp populations here.
Robbins McIntosh is the Senior Vice President of CP, the largest supplier of shrimp to North America.
When we have shrimp that were maybe not as healthy as they should have been, then farmers look to save their crops. They used antibiotics.
Those antibiotics, if overused, can lead to antibiotic resistance in humans, and in some cases, even cancer. That's why, back in 2002, the European Union threatened a ban on farmed shrimp imports from Asia. Thailand saw this as a wake-up call and officially outlawed the use of harmful antibiotics. And large shrimp producers like CP responded by revamping their business and going drug-free.
What are they trying to prevent by spraying the wheels?
To keep viruses from coming into the farm so the animals stay virus-free and healthy.
But in order to maintain these high standards, CP must go to extreme measures.
We're getting ready to go in, so it all has to be hygienic. So we have to keep our masks on and all our hairs in place. So everyone that works has to go through this every day?
Every day.
Preparing to enter their facility was like scrubbing in for surgery.
So right now we're in a room where all the shrimp are being peeled and gutted, and they're also being sorted for size.
McIntosh also introduced a new breed of shrimp that's supposed to be more resistant to disease.
All right, now this again you can see is a healthy shrimp. This is just a perfect shrimp. Today, our shrimp do not get sick. There is no need to apply antibiotics.
So no Thai shrimp farmers use antibiotics today?
No Thai farmers use antibiotics.
But that's not what we found back home. We discovered that shipments of shrimp from Thailand were recently turned away by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency for containing an antibiotic called nitrofurans, a known carcinogen. Although we didn't see any flag shipments from CP, other major exporters from Thailand did make the list. Port inspection rates vary country to country, as high as 25% in Europe, as low as 2% in the US, with Canada following close behind. Just 5% of imported shrimp is inspected.
If we're only expecting 5% and we've actually caught something, if we've actually turned food back and we're only expecting 5%, imagine how much shit is in this country. How much bad farmed tiger prawns from Southeast Asia are actually being consumed by Canadians right now.
You can't inspect 100% of every piece of fish that comes into the country, otherwise there wouldn't be anything to eat, right?
Janelle Boudreau works with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, which is responsible for testing all food, imported and domestic, and making sure it's safe to eat.
So the standards that apply to domestic shrimp apply to imported shrimp as well.
And do we inspect 5% of domestic products?
Well, domestic products are a bit different because we have our quality management program, we register the plants, so I mean, we're here looking at those products.
But the majority of our food is not produced in domestic markets. In fact, more than 70% of Canadian food is imported, making it next to impossible to monitor everything passing our borders. Adding to this, a recent internal audit by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency found that its imported food safety program has deficiencies that represent multiple areas of risk exposure to the health of consumers. That's why some North American supermarket chains have taken it upon themselves to certify their imported shrimp as safe and sustainable. In Thailand, they've created an alliance of private shrimp inspectors.
0.6.
Auditors here make sure farmers follow strict standards, giving consumers back in Canada and the US confidence that their certified shrimp is safe to eat. But with no end in sight for the Western appetite for shrimp, other Asian countries are getting into the shrimp business too. While Thailand has started cleaning up the shrimp industry, places like Vietnam and China are cashing in on this lucrative crop themselves, using some of the same dangerous practices, posing a new wave of problems.